Let me ask you something grown. Not emotional, not reactive, grown. If everything in your life stayed exactly the same for the next 5 years, would you feel peaceful or trapped? Because some of you are not unhappy, you're just unfulfilled. And that's harder to admit. You can be successful and still feel misaligned. You know what's dangerous? Looking accomplished but feeling empty. You built a life that makes sense, but it doesn't make you light. There's a difference. Some of you didn't choose your life. You survived into it. You picked stability over desire. It's about responsibility over curiosity, approval over alignment. And now you don't know how to pivot without disappointing someone. I didn't fail at life. I just built one that doesn't fit anymore. That's not failure. That's growth trying to wake you up. You've been strong for so long, you don't even know who you are without strength. You're the one people depend on. I am the calm one. I am the logical one. I am the responsible one. But strength can become a mask. And sometimes I'm fine just means I don't have time to fall apart. Being strong isn't the same as being satisfied. Nobody asks the strong woman what she needs. They assume she doesn't. Let's talk about the part nobody says out loud. You don't hate your life. I resent parts of it. I resent always being the mature one. It's subtle. It shows up as irritability, withdrawal, overthinking at night. Burnout isn't always from work. Sometimes it's from carrying people emotionally. You're not exhausted from doing. You're exhausted from being everything. This isn't about blowing up your life. It's about realignment, quiet realignment. You can love your partner and still want deeper connection. You can love your career and still want freedom. You can love your children and still want identity. That doesn't make you selfish. It makes you human. You don't need a new life. You might need new honesty. If no one would judge you, what would you change? Not dramatically. Just honestly. Would you speak up more? Rest more? Demand more? Risk more? Because some of you are not stuck. You're just afraid to disrupt what looks stable. And stability without joy becomes a cage. Peace isn't pretending everything is fine. Peace is alignment. Ask yourself this week, am I living in alignment with my values and purpose? Or am I maintaining an image? And if the answer unsettles you, good. Discomfort is often clarity knocking. It's a signal that something important is trying to get your attention. Sometimes the hardest realization in adulthood is this. The life that's exhausting you is the life you work hard to build. No one forced it on you. You chose responsibility. You chose stability. You chose the safe path. And at the time, those choices made sense. They protected you. They helped you survive seasons that were uncertain. And at the time, those choices made sense. They protected you. They helped you survive seasons that were uncertain. But survival decisions don't always create fulfilling lives. And now you're sitting in something that once felt like progress, but now feels like pressure. Sometimes the life that looks successful is just the life we built while we were trying to survive. That realization doesn't mean you failed. It means you're evolving. A lot of women aren't stuck in situations. They're stuck in identities. You've been the responsible one so long you don't know how to be anything else. You've been the strong one so long, rest feels uncomfortable. You've been the one who keeps everything together so long that asking for help feels like weakness, but identities can become cages. Because once people expect you to be a certain way, they resist when you grow. People get comfortable with the version of you that requires the least adjustment from them. Growth often disappoints people who benefited from your silence. Let's talk about the emotional cost of holding everything together. You carry responsibility quietly. You solve problems before they become visible. You absorb stress so other people can feel comfortable. And people admire that. They call you strong. They call you dependable. The stronger you appear, the less people ask if you're okay. And eventually you realize you've been everyone's support system, but no one has been yours. And still crave expansion. Those feelings don't make you ungrateful. They make you self-aware. Gratitude doesn't cancel out the need for alignment. Two things can be true at the same time. At some point in adulthood, everyone has to face a quiet mirror. Not the mirror that shows your face, the mirror that shows your life. And that mirror asks uncomfortable questions. Are you happy? Or are you just functioning well? Are you fulfilled? Are you just responsible? Or are you just maintaining an image? Functioning well is not the same thing as living well. A lot of people are functioning. Very few are aligned. If no one has told you this before, hear it now. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to outgrow roles. You're allowed to admit that something that once fit doesn't fit anymore. That doesn't erase your gratitude. It simply means you're paying attention to yourself again. Growth often starts the moment you admit the old version of your life no longer fits. Awareness is not destruction, it's direction. So ask yourself something this week. Not publicly, not dramatically, quietly. Are you building a life that reflects who you are now and maintaining one that reflects who you used to be? Because real success isn't just what you achieve. It's how honestly you live inside what you've built. Success means very little if you don't feel at home in the life it created. There's another truth people don't talk about. Sometimes the life you're living isn't wrong. You've just outgrown it. The routines that once felt productive now feel repetitive. The responsibilities that once felt meaningful now feel heavy. The version of you who built this life is not the same version of you sitting in it today. And that realization can feel disorienting. Because the outside world still sees success. But inside, you feel like you're wearing a life that no longer fits. Sometimes the discomfort you feel isn't failure. It's growth outgrowing the life it created. Sometimes the discomfort you feel isn't failure. It's growth outgrowing the life it created. There's a quiet grief that comes with adulthood. Not dramatic grief, subtle grief. Grief for the parts of yourself you set aside to be responsible. Grief for the curiosity you replaced with practicality. Grief for the risks you talked yourself out of. And no one sees that grief. Adulthood sometimes means grieving the version of yourself that had more freedom than responsibility. And that grief deserves honesty. Let's be honest about something else. Being the strong woman can become exhausting. You hold families together. You stabilize environments. You solve problems before they even reach other people. But strength has a cost. The strong woman is often the least supported person in the room. And the world applauds your strength without realizing it's the reason you're tired. Eventually, every woman reaches a moment of quiet honesty. A moment where she stops asking, "What will people think?" What do I actually need? Not what's impressive, not what's expected. Alignment usually begins the moment you stop performing the life that looks right. That's where clarity begins. Real success is not just what you achieve. It's how peaceful you feel living inside what you built. And if something inside you is quietly saying, "This isn't it anymore," don't silence that voice. Listen to it. Because sometimes clarity doesn't arrive loudly. It arrives as a quiet realization that you're ready to live more honestly than before. The bravest thing an adult can do is admit the life they built no longer fits who they've become. There comes a moment in adulthood where you stop waiting for permission. Permission to change. Permission to grow. Permission to want more. And you realize something important. No one is coming to redesign your life for you. Not your partner, not your friends, not your family. That responsibility belongs to you. And that's not pressure. That's power. The moment you stop waiting for permission is the moment your life starts belonging to you again. People think change has to be dramatic. It doesn't. Sometimes change is quiet. It's speaking honestly instead of staying silent. It's resting without apologizing. It's saying no without explaining your entire life story. It's admitting you want something different. Those are not small decisions. Those are turning points. Most people don't need a new life. They need honesty inside the one they already have. Self-respect is not loud. It's quiet. It's the moment you stop shrinking to keep situations comfortable. It's the moment you stop negotiating your own needs just to avoid tension. It's the moment you realize your peace deserves protection. Self-respect begins when you stop negotiating your own well-being. Think about the version of you 5 years from now, the wiser version, the calmer version, the version who finally trusted herself. She didn't arrive there by accident. She got there through small, honest decisions. Every day. Decisions that protected her time, protected her energy, protected her life. The future you is built by the boundaries you choose today. You don't have to destroy your life to improve it. You just have to live it more honestly. You're allowed to change direction. You're allowed to grow beyond roles that once defined you. You're allowed to build a life that reflects who you are now. Real success is waking up inside a life that actually feels like yours. One of the biggest lies people believe about adulthood is that it's too late. Too late to change direction. Too late to want something different. It's never too late to realign a life that no longer reflects who you are. Some of you are still living inside expectations that were never yours. Family expectations, cultural expectations. Your energy is limited. Your time is limited. Your emotional capacity is limited. And protecting those things is not selfish. It's wisdom. Peace grows when you stop giving energy to things that never gave it back. Ask yourself honestly, am I growing here? Am I fulfilled here? The life you want begins the moment when you stop avoiding the truth about the life you have. The life you want begins the moment you stop avoiding the truth about the life you have. Real confidence is quiet. It's trusting your judgment, trusting your timing. You don't need a completely new life. You need alignment inside the one you have. Alignment in your choices. alignment in your relationships, align in how you treat yourself, and that alignment begins with honesty. A powerful life is built every time you choose truth over comfort. Not always intentionally, not always knowingly, but through small decisions, through compromises, through moments where keeping the peace felt easier than choosing yourself. And that realization can feel heavy, but it's also freeing. Because the same power that built your life can reshape it. The same decisions that built your life can rebuild it. And that power still belongs to you. Growth has a side effect people rarely talk about. It disappoints people. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing something different. Some people benefit from the version of you that always says yes, the version that never pushes back, the version that keeps everything smooth. But growth changes that, and not everyone will celebrate it. Sometimes your growth looks like disappointment to people who benefited from your silence. That doesn't make your growth wrong. For a long time, many women were taught that choosing themselves was selfish, that their needs should come last, that being dependable meant being available. But choosing yourself doesn't mean abandoning others. It means including yourself in the life you're building. Choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's responsible. Because a life where you disappear is not a healthy life. There's something powerful about realizing that your time is finite, not in a dramatic way, in a clarifying way. Every year that passes is a reminder that life is not endless, which means the time you spend should reflect what actually matters to you. Your life is shaped by what you allow to take your time. And time is the one thing you never get back. Changing your life rarely looks dramatic. It's not always a big announcement. Most of the time, it's quiet. It's a conversation you finally have, a boundary you finally set, a decision you finally make. Those moments may look small from the outside, but they slowly rebuild your life from the inside. Real life changes begin with quiet decisions no one else notices, but you notice, and that's what matters. There is a version of you that already exists, a calmer version, a clearer version, a woman who trusts herself more, who protects her energy, who moves with intention. That version of you isn't far away. She's built through the choices you make now. You become her one honest decision at a time. And every honest decision brings you closer. You don't have to become a completely different person. You just have to become a more honest version of yourself. A version that listens to her instincts. A version that protects her peace. A version that chooses alignment over appearances. Because the most powerful life you can build is one where you no longer feel like a stranger inside it. The goal isn't a perfect life. The goal is a life that finally feels like yours. A lot of the pressure you feel right now is pressure you were never meant to carry alone. Pressure to be strong all the time. Pressure to be dependable. Pressure to make everyone else comfortable. But strength doesn't mean carrying everything by yourself. Pressure to be dependable. Pressure to make everyone else comfortable. But strength doesn't mean carrying everything by yourself. Sometimes the biggest change in your life won't be visible to anyone else. It will be internal. A quiet shift in how you think. A quiet shift in what you tolerate. A quiet shift in what you accept. Those internal changes reshape your life slowly, but permanently. The moment your standards change, your life begins to change with them. Growth often starts quietly. Clarity brings a certain kind of freedom, not because everything becomes easy, but because confusion finally ends. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop over-explaining your choices. You stop trying to be understood by everyone. And you start trusting yourself more. Clarity is peaceful because it removes the need to convince anyone. You simply move forward. There is a quiet confidence that comes with self-trust. It's not loud, it's not performative, it's steady. It's the ability to make decisions that align with your values, even if those decisions surprise people, even if those decisions change the direction of your life. Self-trust is the foundation of every peaceful life, and it grows stronger every time you listen to yourself. A life where your decisions match your values. A life where your responsibilities don't erase your identity. A life where the person you are on the outside match the person you feel inside. Because when those two things align, life finally feels lighter. The best life you can build is one that feels honest when you wake up inside it.